Hello and welcome to Lean Money. This week's episode is the 3 changes that saved me £2,300 in 2019. I had a bit of a financial epiphany at the start of this year. I was basically being really lazy with my money. It wasn't working for me and I didn't see the value of it. I got a really healthy looking paycheck at the start of the month, but by the end of the month I'd be in my overdraft, having spent it all on things that I couldn't even remember. That's when I decided to put an end to the mindless spending and think about what my money could do for my future. I decided to evaluate if I was making the most of the financial opportunities that were in front of me, and I decided that I wasn't, purely due to laziness. That's so easy to do when we've got busy jobs and hectic lifestyles. We don't want to spend our weekends thinking about money, we would just want to be out spending it, enjoying ourselves and spending time with our friends. Unfortunately, this kind of apathy towards your finances can over time lead to you spending more money than you make, and over time this leads to debt. In this video, I'll talk you through 3 decisions I've made in 2019 to take control of my finances. Number 1, making sure I'm claiming the money that's owed to me. Now, this may seem like a strange one, but it really was due to my laziness that I wasn't making the most of the opportunities I had in front of me. For example, I end up travelling a fair bit for work, and this means that I end up buying coffees, snacks, meals, internet access, things like that when I'm on the road. But until a few months ago, I never used to claim any of that money back, purely because I couldn't be bothered, and my company had a really convoluted expenses process. It was only when I was travelling for work in May that I realised that I really wouldn't be incurring these expenses if I didn't have my job or wasn't working in that particular role. So from that day I decided to log all my expenses, put them through the company system and claim back the money for them. And over the past 3 months I've claimed £217 back from my company. Assuming similar spending, that's a saving of £878 over the year. Another example of where I hijacked my own laziness was getting refunds for my train journeys that were delayed. On the train line that I use, delays of more than 30 minutes are eligible for compensation. Now this varies by train operator, some it's 15 minutes you're eligible, but most of them it's 30 minutes. I always assumed that the process to go through to get the compensation from the train operator would be really convoluted. And whilst the process from filling in the form to actually getting the money back can take between 2 to 4 weeks, the actual form itself is really quick and you can fill it in within like 2 to 3 minutes. You don't have to put much detail there. If they determine that you're eligible for compensation for that particular delay, the money's transferred to your bank account within 5 to 10 working days. I usually find it's a bit quicker than that. As you can see from my bank statement, which is rolling up the screen right now, I've collected quite a lot of compensation in the last few months. And that's added up to about £33 a month on average for the last 6 months. That equates to around £396 a year, which equates to a 6.7% refund on the whole entire cost of my annual rail ticket, which is pretty good, I think. You may remember from my monthly budget video that transport and paying for my train and tube ticket is my biggest monthly expense. That's why I wanted to take this a bit further and see if there were any other delays I could claim for on my journey. After a particularly terrible week of commuting on the Underground, I saw a sign that said, "Don't forget to claim compensation for your delayed journey." When I got home that evening, I went on the TfL, that's the Transport for London website, and looked up how I could claim compensation. I had to create an account and log the journey that was affected, kind of like where I was travelling from, where I was travelling to, and how many minutes on average it was delayed. But apart from that, it was pretty simple. I also just put my bank account details in, and I actually got a response like 3 hours later by email saying that the money would be transferred to my account. So I was actually super impressed at how efficient that was, because in Britain we're not the most efficient of people, and from all the trade delays you can tell transport is not the most efficient service. I calculated what it would be if I claimed for an average of 4 journeys a month that were delayed on the tube, and that worked out as £10 a month and £120 a year refunded. That equates to about 8.7% refunded from my total tube and train ticket, which is a great saving. The second way I've cut down on spending in 2019 is by reducing the amount of hot drinks I purchase outside of the home. Now I know this is one of these recommendations that's featured in every YouTube video that's targeted to budgets, finance and millennial money, and that's usually because it's true. We do spend a lot of money on coffee, tea, iced coffee, things like that, and I think that's just because it's something that makes us feel kind of comforted. I know in kind of like the middle of winter when it's really cold outside in the morning, I like to be clasping a cup of hot coffee or tea. It's often part of our daily routine, you know, we leave home, we get a coffee on the way to work, and that's how it goes. As you can see in this list of Monzo transactions from February this year, I was spending a hell of a lot of money at coffee shops, and it seemed to be every single day, and I think that was just because it was the middle of the winter and I wanted to stay warm. I had a look at my Monzo one day and realised that this coffee buying behaviour was adding up to about £60 every month. I had to change my behaviour there and then. I went straight to the department store in Oxford and purchased a reusable cup. I specifically looked for one where you could seal the top and put it in your bag after use, because I find that ones where you just have to keep it upright and stuff are not particularly useful. You then have to kind of carry them around until you can take them into your office and wash them out, and they'll still be a bit wet afterwards. I found this particular reusable cup in John Lewis. It's by the brand Aladdin, which I'd never heard of, and actually I wanted a coffee cup that was reusable but it's also quite small, because I never drink that much coffee or tea and I didn't want to have to carry a heavy reusable cup around with me all day. So I was really glad when I found that size one, which just fits kind of like a small to medium size of coffee. My other requirement was that it would keep drinks cold as well as hot, because I really like drinking like cold brew coffee in the summer, whereas I really like drinking kind of warm lattes or warm tea in the winter months. In terms of the money I've saved over the last 6 months by not buying coffee, I reckon I've saved about £360. In terms of the coffee I buy at home, I get this cold brew from Vita Coco. This is dairy free and I buy it from Ocado. It's usually about £4 for 2 cartons, and each carton gives me about 10 glasses of cold brew, so it's pretty affordable. I'll link this particular brand of cold brew in the description below if you're interested in buying it. In terms of the ice, well, I make that myself. And so on to the third way in which I've changed my spending in 2019, and this is by taking advantage of the loyalty schemes that work for me. So we all know that loyalty schemes are basically made by brands and companies to try and make you loyal to their services and to buy their products more than anywhere else. But there is a way that you can make this work for you and to your advantage, and to actually get something out of it. What I did was make a list of all the places that I spend money or have to spend money on a regular basis to identify where I could be saving and where are the loyalty schemes that would work for me. It's no point in signing up to every single loyalty scheme under the sun and having about 200 loyalty cards in your wallet if you're never going to use them, because in reality you'll never add up to enough points or kind of bonuses to actually use them. The areas I identified were petrol, hotels and food shopping. For petrol, I chose the Shell Go loyalty scheme. This is newly launched, but it allowed you to earn bonuses and rewards each time you visit. The other good thing about this card is it's all kept on an app on your phone and you can see everything on there, so you don't need to carry a card in your wallet, which is something I really like. For groceries, I chose Sainsbury's Nectar scheme. Now this allows you to earn points every time you buy groceries. It also allows you to earn points when you spend on petrol. So if there's never a Shell garage nearby, I'll usually go to a Sainsbury's petrol station, and that way I'll earn points on that. I use my points to take money directly off my bill, and I usually end up saving about £10 to £15 a month just off my food bill. The final loyalty scheme I use is for hotels. Now I usually book hotels for holidays abroad, visiting family, weekends trips to go to things like weddings, or occasionally for work. I was actually using this reward scheme before I even knew it, and that's because I used Expedia to book my hotels anyway. I always found that it was quite a good price on there, and I also had a discount code through work which I used there anyway, so it always made it a bit cheaper. What I didn't realise is that I'd been accruing Expedia rewards points for a little while. I think it launched like 2018, and so by the time I actually got to find out about it, I could actually use some of the points I'd already accrued, which was really nice. You earn points on every hotel stay you book, and then you can use those points as money off your next booking. Worked out that I've saved in total around £50 this year. So that's it. Those are the 3 changes that have saved me £2,300 in 2019. I hope you've enjoyed these recommendations. Please don't forget to subscribe, click the like button and leave a comment down below on any more videos you'd like to see.